because I gotta, you know, see this style in action. There's gonna be no doubt all these cool little details of it that you have, and I'm gonna be kind of going, oh, like this seems a bit random here. We're floating 1,000 gas, or you know, this is a bit inconsistent probably. And as always, trying to just help you tighten up your builds. You've got a lot of tactical things with how you want to kind of counter your units and how you want to set up widow mines and stuff. That all seems to be pretty well mapped out. I just don't know if the macro is mapped out at all. You know, that might be purely by feel. So I'll keep an eye on that. I'll see what we can do. I'll see if there's any like, I'll try to focus really hard on prioritizing it as well. So it'll be like, okay, this seems like it could be like a 2% boost or a 1% boost. And then I'll be like, oh, this one's friggin' huge. This is a, you know, 15%. We need to fix this right now kind of thing. And we can kind of talk through all that. So just get in your groove, show us this style. It sounds like it's bloody entertaining. So looking forward to it, man. Good luck.
Cool.
Let's kill some Terran. Mutiny. Get them. Bit of weird motivation there. I like to just, you know, get him in the mutinous spirit.
SCV ready.
Thank you guys for hanging out. Scatterick is doing uptime. We've actually been online for like 10 hours, my friend. 8 hours? 8 hours? 8.5? Something like that. But I had to restart the stream. You can see the quality is a bit lower than normal, unfortunately. I'll have to remember to fix that up later on before we stream tomorrow. Just had a bit of an internet derp earlier. So this was a gas first build, guys. You know what would be good? Okay, I'm gonna copy paste his build order.
SCV ready.
Coaching, 23rd May.
SCV ready.
Alright. Alright. Yeah, so basically if his opponent was doing a double gas build, they'd already have the factory down at about 138, 137. And if they immediately build 2 Reapers and a Hellion and go across the map, that means that Hellion would probably be out. Factory is what, 43 seconds. So it would basically be 2 minutes 20 factory finishes. Hellion takes 21 seconds to build. So yeah, about 340 is when the Hellion pops. 340, that sounds wrong. Sorry. 240. 240 is when the Hellion would pop. And the Hellion could get across the map 3 minutes. 10, yeah, I would imagine, depending on map size, you'd be looking at often a 5 to 10 second window before your Hellions are out, where 2 Reapers and a Hellion can fuck with your natural. That's why it's important to drop your first mill on the high ground with this build. So we just did a little bit of math there. Obviously, in this case, we're not going to get to see that. He's gone straight across the map with his first Reaper, won the Reaper skirmish, and then gets the SCV. Might have been able to be cocky and get the Reaper as well, since I hadn't healed as much as he had hit points, but yeah, this is pretty tight, so it's looking fine. Cool. Let's leave it on his camera, really get in his head here, and try to write down this build, shall we?
SCV ready.
Gas first. Reaper expand.
Add-on complete.
Notes.
SCV ready.
Reaper goes
Ready to raise
straight across map. To pressure. In brackets, you would die to your own 3 racks build.
SCV ready.
Winky face. Potentially. So he goes for 2 Hellions, then he starts non-stop building mines while going for Banshees. Now behind this he's macroing up, but look at that, double gas, no depot started. Crazy ass fucking build order right here. Yeah, which is fine, let him play it by feel, but the depot being late I can't really ever get behind. I'm like, nope, that's gross. Oh. Oh, good micro by Aleph. And then he starts burrowing the mines. Dirty fucker, I love it. Okay, cool. So he's gonna start dropping mules there. He's still not consistently building depots. There we go, does add those in, okay. So what was it, like 345 double gas on natural? Like, it's insanely early. I'm already gonna ride here. I think we can get away with just 3 gas with this opening. 4-minute 45 eBay. This was versus a Reaper FE. So perhaps this is in time for Banshee. But it's a big if.
SCV ready.
Mineral field depleted.
Okay, so we had a third CC on location incredibly early. And it was only 1 Banshee straight into BC.
SCV ready.
Oh my god. Factory.
SCV ready.
So barracks goes Reaper, Reactor, and then we're gonna swap off and build Tech Lab.
Ready.
And then we're gonna swap off and build Tech Lab. Can be a pause in between. Factory.
SCV ready.
Basically swap onto Reactor, 2 Hellions, non-stop
Add-on
mines
Complete.
for the rest of the game. Starport is gonna go swap onto Tech Lab, Cloak plus Banshee, BC production.
Who called in the fleet?
Fusion Core goes for Yamato.
SCV
And he's gonna go second
Command center
Starport and
upgrade.
second Factory. Okay.
Your forces are under
Second
attack.
Starport and second Factory. Both onto Tech Labs.
SCV ready.
So we're gonna swap off and build another
Mineral
Tech Lab.
field depleted.
And then another Tech Lab.
SCV ready.
Add-on complete. Mineral field depleted. Your forces add-on
Gonna simplify the build order. Barracks basically is just a dude that builds shit.
Research.
Now he,
SCV
this
ready.
is the second Banshee, right? Oh no, he went back and repaired it. Nice. Yeah, just jumps on top of the Cyclone. And this BC is gonna make it game.
SCV ready.
Absolute Mad Lad build.
Mineral field depleted.
If the interference matrix the BC, it would have been big. That, oh, that was interesting. Oh, he gets the Raven. No more cock matrix. He's not focus firing, so he's shooting like random Hellions right now. Really would like him to go to SCVs or tanks. Anyways, he's getting very excited here, but it's understandable. He's doing insane damage. Oh my god, he just dropped like 4 supply drops. And it's like on his natural wall. Oh my god, it's like the place most likely for them to get killed. Jeebus. These BCs are doing good damage, man. Good damage. Oh my god. And that one's gonna go down. Oh my god. Yeah, this is GG, guys.
It's a trap.
Marines don't do a lot of damage to BCs, but if you just like happen to be doing a bio build, you got like 10 Marines under there, you just interference matrix the BC, you're gonna do a lot better than this. Happen to be very Hellbat tank focused, obviously hasn't played against this style very much. Now he's meant to be mass expanding.
SCV ready.
He's kind of doing it. I would like him to do it at a slightly faster rate since he's got 2,000 minerals. He's going drilling claws, double ship weapons, triple BC production, building a Thor. Yeah. Yeah, I mean he's not using depot builders or anything.
Is here. Who called in the fleet?
The build order seems really chaotic because like he never really has enough money to do anything. So my inclination would be to just tighten up the build order, right? Tighten up the build order. Seems like the best bet.
called in the fleet?
Strict rules for gas timing, third CC timing, etc. Non-stop depot builders from 60 supply. He's been pretty lax on his widow mines, to be honest. Like, he's got widow mines there.
Research.
Yeah, I feel like he's, you know, he's got a few kind of around the map, but like this whole top area, I think he's been a little bit blind on.
SCV ready.
Your
Rally
forces
points.
are under attack.
SCV ready. SCV ready.
I mean, as always, just using control groups would be huge.
Our SCVs
Like, he just went and looked at his
under
base and
attack.
saw that all his
Mineral
units are
field
just kind of
depleted.
chilling there. If he gets attacked right now, he's going to struggle to just get his shit to the front.
SCV ready.
And he has no tanks right now, which I really dislike, because I feel like you want to have some real nice defensive power with this sort of build. And whilst Widow Mines are good, I think tanks are the real deal, you know? These Widow Mines are all really good, though, for stopping Doom Drops towards his main. That's what I like about these three pairs.
SCV ready.
So his essential area, his production is quite well protected.
Research complete.
Who called in the fleet?
But yeah, I'm also looking at this and I'm going like, why aren't the BCs doing run-bys? Like, yeah, we're mass expanding and that's nice, but we're not actually building the best defensive army and we're going a bit YOLO on SCVs. So, way too many SCVs,
Command center upgrade.
not harassing with BCs. Need to do that more. Even if it's just 3 or 4 walking across,
Mineral field
doing
depleted.
damage and then blinking home. When do we build tanks versus Thors? Question mark.
Command center upgrade complete.
Tanks plus mines combined have insane defensive power. Something I felt we lacked. There was a good frontal push.
Who called in the fleet?
In this game, we ravaged him at the start,
Complete.
so there wasn't any threat, but it's telling
Mineral field depleted. Mineral field depleted.
structure of our build and rule set behind when to go tanks, etc. is probably a
Mineral
bit
field
loose.
depleted.
Blink home? He's gonna blink that one BC home. Like, what's he doing right now? Okay, there we go. Because all you need to do is just click them over, and then you can just select it, blink it home. Select it, blink it home. There we go. Yep, yeah. You can just take fights like this, and then... Oh, no, you can... Oh! Blink him, blink him, blink him! Ooh! Got waiting to the last possible second.
Mineral field depleted.
Cool. He still doesn't have them on a control group? Okay, he does now. Yeah. So he's got to get them back to a fully saturated base, pull workers to repair it. There's 99 SCVs. Absolutely insane. When floating minerals, we need to batch our CCs more.
Who called in the fleet?
Box a solid 15 workers and build 5 bases and a bunch of gases. You spent way too much APM building individual bases,
Upgrade complete.
then going back, selecting workers, and building another one a few seconds later. The whole time you had 2 to 3k minerals. You could have built 5 all at once.
Add-on complete.
So he's pulled some workers. I would like to see him repair that a little bit faster, especially when he has so many workers.
Vespine Geyser
Send
exhausted.
BCs to a fully saturated base. to repair. Took a bit long this game to get our next run by going. Never got a group of orbitals up. Your ability to spam mules means you can dump SCVs in late game and just have gas miners. That gives you way more supply. In this game, we were way ahead. We gave far too many opportunities to our opponent to get back in the game. Goodbye, Command Center. I actually didn't click on it. Some nice Yamato's there. Ooh, Thors. Won't be enough though, I don't think. And at this point, he's so far ahead, he really should just take the trade and win the game.
Upgrade complete.
A little bit slow to redirect his units towards the anti-air. I think he thought there were more Thors under there.
Mineral field.
GG!
So I know it seems like it's a strange way to play, but that is actually a very typical game for me.
No, that's awesome. No, this is fun,
Yeah.
man. This is Nathanias inspired. It's cool. I like it. It's a bit of Nate in there. Do you know what your work account was in that game? Don't cheat.
Let's see. Oh, I'm totally cheating. Yeah, I don't know.
You gotta test
It
your
wa-
game
it
sense. Gotta test your game sense.
It was 100. It says workers active 100,
Yeah.
which is way too high. I didn't need that many.
No, it was a bit much, man. You did have like 8,000 minerals that whole late game.
I had way too much minerals, but that's because I never like in games like this. I kind of plan to lose SCVs, and then if I really get into a fight, like I really need to build more stuff, then I'll just take my SCVs, put them on auto repair, and have them follow my army, which is what I did at the end there. If the game continues, well, those SCVs got killed, so I build more stuff. But
Yeah, and I think it's
Yeah.
okay with this sort of style to have more SCVs than normal, for sure. I think 100's probably a little bit too much, especially because as a Terran player, you can bank orbitals. Like, at no point in that game did we build 6 command centers, turn them all into orbitals, and say, hey, that's the equivalent of having an extra, 30 workers or so, the whole time, but it doesn't cost supply.
Yeah.
And that's really important, in this sort of game. Hell, you could even go up to 10, 12 extra orbitals and drop your SCV count way down to like 40 or 50. So if you're struggling to finish the game, you need that army supply. There are, if he was maxed out at the end there, who knows? Maybe he has enough Thors to take down your BCs, or he has some Ravens in there, interference matrices as well and stuff. You just don't have enough supply to quite roll them over sometimes. So, we should definitely be doing that, and you should definitely come up with a rule. So, I mean, I don't know. How many workers do you think is a good count initially? And obviously it can go up, it can go down. The game's messy, you're losing bases, but you're expanding elsewhere. Maybe you're just holding down the SCV key and you're not exactly sure where you are. But let's try and have an idea of what the ideal number would kind of be.
maybe like 4 bases at most, like 4 completely saturated mining bases.
Yeah.
So like if there's 22 SCVs per base, maybe no, I guess 88's probably too much, right? Probably wouldn't want to go over 66.
I would actually be fine with it with this style, because you're doing some crazy shit, and if they start dropping you and stuff, they are going to kill more SCVs. Like you said, you're planning to lose some.
Yes.
And that's kind of, the big macro styles, 85 is okay. So I'm okay with you going 85 with that style. That's kind of the number you'll see a lot of the late game players get to. All 3 races. 85 is like the magic number where it's like, yeah, it takes a lot of your supply out, but you can lose 10 or 15 and replace them pretty damn easily. You start to bank up resources. It really gives you more longevity. When you're doing things like diving BCs and blinking them home, and you're playing this like longer efficiency game, it gives you just that big bank to work with and more flexibility. So that's a big one. I think definitely the build order does seem, a little haphazard. I'm going to look at your build order one more time. I think you did a pretty good job with it, but like there's a lot of instinctive cutting that I can tell
Yes.
like isn't probably in your frontal cortex. It's not in your focus, right? And it's the same thing when I play a build like this. At the same time, you're pretty good at in the midst of that remembering to go back and add your depots or do this. But those definitely maybe some tightening we could do up. But let's stick with the generic notes for now. Let's imagine we just leave you with this kind of rhythm. You kind of have your own instinctive idea of when to do what. You basically won the game with the first battle cruisers that game, by the way, right? He was building lots of tanks and hellbats. Was not expecting that at all.
No. And then I just killed them all.
Yeah.
And he had very little anti-air, which is interesting because I would have expected more Terran players that when they see the Banshee to build more air defense, but a lot of times they don't because they just assume, well, that's just one Banshee. They're never going to build more than one Banshee. So maybe they put a turret in the mine. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he even had turrets in the mineral line. I'm not sure.
No, he didn't even have turrets. He just built a Raven.
Because he had 2 Ravens and a Cyclone. That's usually all you need, right? You can use turrets. So yeah. I mean, I do a really dumb thing where I keep building Banshees sometimes, because I recognize that they don't have turrets, and I just wait until they start moving out of the map with their Ravens, because they're like, yep, I've killed 4 Banshees. Like, there's no way there's any more. And I've got 2 next to their main, 1 next to their natural. I see them leaving the base with the Marine. I'm like, go in. And I know they don't have turrets, and they're like, kind of a fucking idiot builds 7 Banshees off a proxied starport, and I'm like, that's like the way,
just won the game. Yeah.
I'm taking advantage of the fact that they don't expect me to do something that's a pretty big gamble when I've already invested in so many. But anyways, okay, using control groups would be really nice. It took us a long time to rally our production structures down, so there's a moment where if he started hitting bases, I felt like we would have been in a bit of panic trying to organize our defense, because you kind of just had Thors and BCs just kind of chilling in the main base for a long time.
Yeah.
We didn't really have non-stop depot builders, and this is something which you're probably incentivized to do because you're taking bases so quickly. So you're probably kind of having these very jilted supply jumps whenever a command center finishes, since that gives you a big bunch of supply. Is it like 15 for a command center or something? It's something huge.
My supply could have been much better in that game. I was very, very micro-focused.
Yeah, there was a few points where you could have jumped home a bit, just been like, all right, just click the BCs over their units and jump home and do some macro. I think one of the big things was batching your actions. At many points, you had 2,000 minerals in the early mid game, and you would go box some SCVs, you'd build a command center, 2 gases, you'd go add an upgrade, queue up another Thor, queue up another BC, still sitting at 2,000 minerals the whole time. You'd go box SCVs, build a command center and 2 gases. And this cycle repeated for several minutes, and you weren't harassing, and your units, like I said, were banking up in your main. And I was like, where's our APM going? Why aren't our BCs continuing to run by? And at one of those points, I would have loved for you to just go command center, command center, command center, command center, all in one go. Take a bunch of bases and kind of batch that together as one action. You can still build them on location. You can still build gases at 1 or 2 of those bases if you wanted to. Like, box a whole mineral line. Just be like, let's go. We've got a ton of minerals. Because I just felt like you sunk too much APM into like, build a command center and 2 gases. Oh shit, I got minerals. Let's build a command center and 2 gases. But you never actually got through the bank, and it was wasting a lot of your APM. So batch those actions up. If you find yourself floating a lot, build a round of units, build depots. At the end of a production cycle, that's when you've got a lot of money, because that's when you've really got money. You go, oh, okay, I've still got 2,000 minerals. Okay, let's go build 4 command centers on location, And that's kind of part of this build is you're harassing your opponent with this weird shit. You're confusing them. They're wanting to go to a higher tech, kind of more turtley army than normal to deal with these battle cruisers. And you're countering that by expanding all over the map. And even if they do start to take advantage of that, well, they've got to push through a vast amount of territory to really finish you. And you've got Widow Mines and so on. So, I like the mass expanding with this. I think even at high level, it can be really hard to deal with. This is kind of like a weird battle mech style. Essentially, it's working the same way, right? It's aggressive. You're hitting them. You're keeping them back, and you're out expanding them and drowning them. One point, you sent your BCs to a base with like 3 workers on it to get repaired. It took you forever to actually repair, and you had to pull more workers from another base. Try to just remember to always send those to one of your, your really saturated bases after they're run by.
I'm actually really bad about that. Like half the time, whenever I'm blinking, I'm just clicking randomly on the minimap. I mean,
well, that's okay. You can always click them to a base afterwards, and just group them near one of those bases. Because you did that, and then you grouped them over an empty base was the problem, and then you're like, here's 5 workers to repair it. Oh, that's fine. Okay, let's go grab some other workers. It was just taking way too many actions is what I didn't like about it. So that's what I'm looking for in these games where things get haphazard. I don't want to change the weird style you have. Your own weird, awesome style. It's great. A lot of people are going to freak out versus it. I I think we didn't necessarily. We had a lot of widow mines covering drops towards our main. We didn't have a lot of widow mines out front, the straight across the map entrance. Took us. There's quite a few times we didn't have any vision there, and then we like had just 2 widow mines in that path and nothing else.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a little open. It's a new map. We'll still see how that goes. Using control groups would be good.
Yeah, I'm not super thrilled that we have brand new maps right before the tournament, but I'm gonna
You'll
deal.
adjust. You'll deal with it.
Yeah.
Do you want to host up another map here?
Sure.
And while you host that up, tanks or Thors? When do you build one? When do you build the other?
I build tanks when I see bio, and I build Thors when I see Vikings. That's
okay,
what I
so-
do.
And you didn't really see a lot of Vikings. You saw him trying to react with Vikings, but he was on mech, so you kind of knew, okay, he can't really
didn't see
shove
any
into me
bio.
very quickly. I don't need to worry about bio. So basically, against mech, you always go Thors because you're always focused on winning the air war, which makes sense against mech. Okay, that's good. That's good. I wanted to check that. That there was a good reason for it. And that's a good reason for sure. I mean, I think still adding some tanks in there can be pretty sexy. But yeah, much more important against bio for sure. We would have needed.
I
tanks.
add tanks when I see a lot of I add tanks and liberators when I see that he's massing Thors, and especially if his Thors are out or have better upgrades than mine, then I'll build tanks and liberators. But honestly, if he's building Thors and I have better upgrades, then I just build more Thors. So my Thors beat his Thors.
You would need a lot of factories to do that. But yeah, I mean, you've got Yamato anyway. Like Thors aren't really the fucking end all of destroying you. They got great range and damage versus BC. So I don't know what that fight actually looks like. I imagine if you don't have ground support and they've got a big spread of their Thors, there's no terrain blocking them. I would imagine they do okay versus BCs, just because their range advantage. I feel like they'd gun down a lot of the BCs while they're Yamatoing and while they're moving in. But I don't actually know that. I'd need to see more battles of equal numbers to figure out what the fuck's going on, right?
I remember losing a game badly because I had like a full army of BCs and he had a full army of Thors, and they just headbutted it against each other, and I'm like, I'm used to my BCs just crushing everything. Why aren't they crushing this? And
You're like,
they
"What's
just
going on?"
they dive very quickly.
What's going on? Yeah. So I think honestly the main things there were what we talked about. Like we could tighten the build order, but I don't really want to that much. Tell me this: when do your natural gas goes down? What's your marker for that?
My natural gas goes. I need a better marker because I put down gases when I feel I need more gas, which means it's already too late. Yeah.
Okay,
I should probably
because I felt
put
like they
those
were
down.
probably even too early in that last game. Like you dropped them before
really?
you even started your depot on your low ground. Your
Yeah.
like 38 depot went down to like 43 supply, so it was like inevitable supply block, and then you did start another depot not too late, but it was still like another slight supply block, and then you just dropped a third CC, and I was like, this is okay, but like I don't. I just looked at it and I was like, I bet you don't do it at this time every game, because I know with this sort of build, I would also just be doing it at sort of like random fast time, and even a 30-second variation in those gases, it just fucks with your build order a little bit. So I don't think it's wrong. I think you just want to let's choose a marker for now and stick with it. Do you want to do just after you start the depot on the low ground? Like
that's what I was thinking.
Okay,
maybe one or two depots on the low ground, and then put the double gas on the.
So that should probably be about 4 minutes, I would imagine. But basically, let's just say about after starting low ground depot. Okay, I've put that here into my little write-up of your build order. And second starport, second factory, both onto Tech Labs, and then third starport onto Tech Lab as well as what we do. Okay, cool. And then it's basically a 3 starport BC build with some added mech units to complicate things and fuck with your opponent. Which is awesome. Thank you to the other guys who offered to help, by the way. I don't even know if they're still around. They're probably just watching on the stream. Thank you guys. We probably don't need you. But thank you, Aleph, here for helping. I guess we're going to throw Aleph in again. Or do we want to? We'll just use Aleph. Aleph's fine. And good luck. Have fun, guys. All right, so whenever you're ready, I think Aleph should be good. Let's go. All right, so main things to focus on this game. Try to just keep the depots a bit more consistent. Let's remember to start the natural gas after starting the extra depots there. Other than that, just if you end up floating a lot of money, I'd like you to just be a bit more organized with batching, throwing down 4 or 5 bases at once. and use that extra APM to send those BCs in a little bit more frequently in the early mid game. But it's just little adjustments, really. I think the main thing is just more consistent depots and get that gas timing at the set timing. If you do everything the same way you did in the last game, I think it's totally fine. No doubt our opponent's going to be a little bit more prepared for us this time. So probably a harder match. Good luck, man.
Cool.
Awesome sauce, guys. This is a really fun build that he's developed for himself. Jaybird, thanks for the 2-month resub, mate. By the way, Evolve Reaver, thank you for that 6-month resub before. Enjoy your GM subscriber badge. Says, I've ate the holy bacon that you provide. My artosis bless you. I don't know what that means, but I like it. I think eating holy bacon is usually a good thing. Yeah.
I hate this map. That's why I picked it.
Nice.
SCV ready.
Shalcop says Jim loves you. Really? Why is that, Shalcop?
SCV ready.
Good build order to start macroing. Type exclamation mark builds Besurizo. Sorry, it doesn't look like anyone's noticed your question in chat. People are a bit distracted. Chat's been a bit dead today because I've been a bit mentally tuned out with Twitch Rivals going on. Was kind of on call with the other streamers rather than giving you guys the love you deserve. A little bit slow to put on gas there, but that's okay. Yeah, exclamation mark builds, exclamation mark beginner. Both decent places to start. Depends on your race. You can also go to Reddit All Things Protoss, Reddit All Things Terran, or Reddit All Things Zerg. If you're a Zerg player, there's scswarm.com. All of these places have some really nice build orders on them. You can also learn to macro with your own build order. You can literally just, you know, start to choose your own idea of where you want to build up workers to and that sort of thing. Take a generic opening and take it forward. Take it forward. So good luck, mate. We're in Diamond 4K MMR, guys. Build guides, your own build order, like craft your own. Yeah, I think it's totally fine to learn the game organically as long as you enjoy doing that, Yang Jian Chess. I think it's a good way to learn. It's just, you know, some people want people to tell them how to play, and that's like never the right attitude for a strategy game, right? So whether you want to, for some people, that knowing that, it makes more sense for them to just make up their own build order and kind of learn from there. Maybe they take like just the opening from a pro build order and they apply that, but then they branch off in a different direction. Or maybe it's completely their own build order, right? There's a lot of different ways you can choose to learn and develop things. But the important thing is they're using their own understanding. And you know, you want to use your own understanding and you want to try and actually come up with your own rules. Because you want to actually understand why you're doing things. You don't want to just do them because, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I do this just because the pro does it. And it's like, okay, why do you do that? Or when do you not do that? And they'll be like, I don't know. And you're like, so you're doing something that you don't understand. And then they do it and it doesn't work. And they go, well, it didn't work against this. This is fucked. I need a different build order. And it's like, well, actually, you just need a small adjustment in the build. But because they're not looking to understand and learn, they don't do it. So for some people, they like to just craft the build completely their own and figure out how to make it safe. Some people like to take a pro's build. Either way, you always need to make it your own. You always need to understand that you're going to encounter things you've never seen a pro deal with that isn't written up in the build guide, no matter how detailed it is. And you're going to need to figure out, how do I think I should respond to this? So that kind of endemic or natural problem solving is something which you need to embrace in order to improve and develop as a good StarCraft player. Reddit All Things Terran is a bit of a salt mine. I haven't been on there in a while. I used to post guides and things and, you know, do a bit more Terran content. I really appreciate that. A lot of Terrans do, you know, come and learn from my stream these days. Even though I'm not, you know, I'm not a Muslim or a beastie cutie in terms of my Terran play. But, you know, I really like that people do come here to learn. I try to avoid the salt entirely. If I played Terran all the time, maybe I would also be salty. You know, Terran's a very mechanically demanding race. And sometimes you do the right thing and you still lose, you know? And people do get frustrated by that because they're like, what the fuck? Why am I losing this, you know? They're like, what? You know, I did the right thing. And it's like, well, in this scenario, your opponent was just well prepared for it, right? And if you're playing aggressive, which Terran players often are, there's usually a counterplay to that. So some Terran players get really upset because it's hard to figure out when they're doing the right thing and when they're doing the wrong thing.
SCV ready.
Sometimes their build's right, but they don't have the execution to respond to a certain thing quick enough. They find it frustrating. They feel like the game's a bit too hard for them. So where the fuck is that command center this time around, guys?
SCV ready.
Command center went down way earlier last time. So I'm looking at this, guys, and I'm going, okay, it's cool you've got more consistent depots, but you know what? Your previous build order might have actually put you in a better spot. Okay, there we go. He puts it down. He puts it down. Okay. He's also like, if he doesn't start that real soon, you know, he's in shit town.
SCV ready.
That's okay. He's paused Widow Mines. Yeah. So what I'm gonna write up a few little notes here. Now I doubt he'll even remember these, but maybe he will. I'm gonna write 6 mines, pause production, more mines, non-stop. Oh man, his opponent, didn't he know? Oh, he still hasn't built an engineering bay. He's really good at build turrets, man. His opponent, that is. So we notice there's like default turrets in this build for Misspiggy, because Misspiggy doesn't really tend to get scouting. So it's like, I'm kind of like, well, maybe we should just scout better, like just jump in the main with a Reaper and see what's going on. On the other hand, default turrets for safety, I'm kind of okay with. We could get a bit ahead
Add-on complete.
by skipping eBay and turrets. To do this, you need to sacrifice your Reaper into main base at 4 minutes. Or, you know, 3:45 to scout production. That's something I've written down in his notes. If he wants to work on that, he can work on that. Because if you just save those minerals, only put down the eBay and the turrets when you need them, that's pretty lit. That's actually like really, really good.
SCV ready.
Can I ask, with making your own build, how do you make sure it's efficient?
Command center upgrade complete.
Like using up a lot of your resources. Oh, you just test it out. If you notice you're floating a lot of gas, then you delay your gas timings. There's a lot of trial and error.
Mineral field depleted.
That's the thing, you know, if you want to develop your own build, there's going to be a little bit more fiddling with it, right? Whereas if you just take an opening, you're like, cool, this opening's good.
Mineral field depleted.
So yeah. But a lot of people really enjoy figuring things out for themselves, and they find they have more longer lasting, you know, really rich lessons that they get out of that.
Depleted. Mineral
Okay, guys, so
field
he's building
depleted.
BCs out of 2 starports. He's getting a second factory going. He's got double armory, ship double upgrades going.
Mineral field depleted.
SCV ready.
Battle
Mineral
cruisers
field
going in.
depleted. Mineral field depleted.
I think you forgot your motto this game.
SCV ready.
Who called in the fleet?
4th base and gases on location. He's got an insane work account, man. Well, you should have blinked out of there immediately. That is a dead battle cruiser, guys. Aleph just let it live for no reason.
SCV ready.
No, Aleph killing that first BC would have been so nice. So nice. His opponent's like so far behind in the macro though. So getting his 3rd up. But he's just got so many Hellbats and tanks, and that's something, you know, you would absolutely want to metagame a player like Misspiggy here and be like, whoa, okay, yeah, normally I build a ton of Hellions, but if you're going to do that, like, you'd want to run out with them, right? Like, imagine if 15 Hellions ran across the map. This would be actually kind of difficult for Piggy to deal with. Yeah.
Upgrade complete. Add-on complete. Mineral field depleted.
Who called in?
Research complete. Mineral field depleted.
ready.
Command center upgrade complete.
SCV ready.
Who called in the fleet?
Mineral field depleted. Research complete.
Thor is here.
Your forces are under attack. Your forces
Sorry guys,
are
bit
under
silent here,
attack.
just writing up some
Mineral
notes here.
field depleted.
He's doing a lot better job of not just floating lots of money. I'm just writing up a few different theory
Research
notes. Normally I try to
complete.
vocalize, but I was just writing down some different marks and things there.
Thor is here.
Upgrade
This is such a
complete.
funky style, guys. So,
Command
what I
center
would love to see this versus a bio player, who's a bit more aggressive and see how he responds. But we're seeing against the mech player how he just seems to kind of control everything very well. No rally points again. Come on, fix this shit.
Command center upgrade.
We're doing a good job
complete.
getting set up, but we still got a ton of units not rallied, our production structures, and we should be trying to do run bys, remember. Even if there's ravens, you can scan ahead and just send 3 BCs in from a flank. If you see the ravens coming, you can blink them out of there. No reason why we shouldn't. Keep it up. Macaron like a beast.
Okay. I always worry about the defensive matrix, or the interference matrix, because
Yep, you can scan ahead though. Go in from the
Mineral
flank of the
field
map, and you can
depleted.
figure out where his army is, and you can, you know, he's not going to be waiting right on the angle you come from with those battle cruisers. So send him down a flank of the map, and you'll always find a way in.
yeah, what I'm gonna do is hit him with the BCs this way, and hit him with everything else the other way.
So he's going to do a big Thor attack. Okay. He's trying to add vehicle weapons now rather than +3 plating. Absolutely fine. If he knew how to just go nukes, honestly, like in this sort of slow static game, I would just drop like 4 barracks, tech labs, 6 ghost academies, and I would just start mass nuking. You guys know I love my nukes. I get very fucking aroused by nuking my opponent's shit and turning the map into a
Show
fucking
him this.
wasteland. Look at this shit. Hey, let's like time to get on the map. Oh, they actually got through that. Widowmine didn't fire. It's the one next to it got killed by Splash.
Base is
This
under
vessel
attack.
requires assistance.
Our SCVs are under attack.
So I would just run those Thors away, right? Like he's not going to do that. I mean, he's got the money, so it doesn't matter too much. But he could have easily ran those Thors away, right?
Base is under attack.
The classic 1-2 punch, guys, is as soon as you punch with both hands at the same time, whichever hand encounters their army immediately pulls back. The other hand keeps going. So you're reactive. You can commit to either push up until the moment you see their army, and you get the fuck out of there. Come on, where are those scans? His ravens could be on top of you any second now. Get out of there. Blink everyone at once. Ooh. Had to scan way earlier than that. You were very lucky to get them all out. Good job, though. You did it. Great damage. Could have ran your Thors away. Whenever you do a two-prong punch like that, you always pull back the punch that encounters his army. But still an incredible trade for you. Could have kept the Thors alive even if they got shut down. But that was a good
I kind
engage.
of wanted the extra supply.
Yeah, it's actually not too bad.
Thor is here.
Now
Problem
he's
here is
coming,
if he relies on pure BC, that's
and
pretty bad.
Okay.
Mineral field depleted.
Remember, he's mostly on an air army right now. A couple of Thor volleys will ruin that air army. Any opportunity, like right now, your Thors should be A-moving that and just doing anything to get on that. Now, if Aleph was really fast, and had multiple Ravens, he could interference matrix before Yamato's go off. But he's not going to be able to do that. Now, Misspiggy fucked up here and actually didn't stack the battle cruisers before engaging, which was a mistake. Awesome engage. Could have stacked the battle cruisers, so you could have spam clicked to get them to all stack up, and then you could have Yamato cannoned every single unit at once rather than a few at a time. So you gave him a lot of time to potentially react there. Just a small little thing, but
Sure.
you've got all your blinks on cooldown, so or off cooldown. So you split up your attacks. You can even split your BCs into 2 squads if you want, and leave your Thors at home. However you want to do it, you can do the Thors attack one side, BCs the other. But just send them down both flanks, scanning and blinking out when you need to. But since you killed his whole air army, I would literally just fly straight across to his 3rd base with your air army and just lay waste to it. And I wouldn't waste any time about it.
That's
he's
great. He's trying to
taking
expand.
way too much time here. +2 armor, Widow Mines. Like, yeah, your scan's gonna run out before I die, mate. So that scan there is what we call a foreshadowing scan. It's a scan that tells your opponent where your army is. Bad move in this scenario. His opponent should know that he's there.
What is going on?
Our
Oh, he
SCVs
thinks he
are
built a
under
depot.
attack.
Why isn't he scanning his army? He doesn't know it's there, guys. Just missed the opportunity to Yamato the Raven. So he's not scanning enough in this late game. And I think it's because he's got mass planetary. He doesn't actually have orbitals.
Vespene Geyser exhausted.
So you're doing good and you should have this game in the bag. You've been short on scans at many moments, which is really bad. And
Yeah,
you never
I need
built,
more orbitals.
You never built your orbital bank, yeah. So once again, this is one of those games where that can cause you big trouble.
Here, I'll make this one an orbital.
Okay, so you've seen you're up against Mass Thor. So
Yep.
I do think siege tanks are pretty incredible against that.
Agreed.
You know,
I'm also going to get range libs.
Yep, that can work as well. Awesome, you're up to 4 factories. Good, good, good.
Make that one.
Upgrade complete. Command center upgrade complete. Your forces are under attack. Command center upgrade.
The scan should happen as you're attacking. Well, it's just when you're dealing with a situation where your opponent could have Mass Raven, and if they happen to get on top of you, you're fucked. It's just a bit dangerous if you're going in with such a slow prong. So if you drop the scan here and a scan there, he's only really interested in the top scan, but the other scan adds disinformation. Makes it seem like he's just scanning everywhere to see the army. But it's like the same thing if you just randomly scan the edge of a main base when you're coming in with a Doom Drop, and your Doom Drop's all the way back here. That's really dumb, right? Because if your opponent's smart, they're going to be like, oh, what the fuck is he scanning there? And they're going to bring their army back and get in position. But if you scan just as you're going in, that's okay, because then you're like, oh, there's a big army turnaround. But you just don't want to do it too far ahead of time. Whereas his battlecruisers were here, they're a very slow unit, he scanned here. He gave his opponent too much time to prepare, in my opinion.
Good.
So his BCs and tanks are moving across the north here. Jesus, he takes a long time to finish games. So one of the weaknesses of players who play this style, these sort of weird styles, is they're often just really fucking dawdly with finishing the game. Where I'm like, hurry up. You should be diving with those battle cruisers. Oh, Aleph's trying to build BCs as well. They don't have as good upgrades though. There's like a couple of nice lockdowns. But the BCs ran a bit far in front. Oh man, Amato's just wrecked. Yeah, he went way too deep with his BCs there. He's just got so much more money than his opponent. And just not being able to scan here just hurts me. It hurts me deeply. Just be like CC, 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 CC. And you can see his money's not even that crazy.
Mineral field depleted.
Nice.
Base is under mineral field depleted.
Reporting for action.
Should just commit to the base trade. He's got so much more money. Thors will take forever to get in his production. So he should be sending his Thors and tanks in as well.
Upgrade complete. Our SCVs are under attack. Our SCVs are under attack. Vespine geyser exhausted.
Reporting for action.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Liberation is at hand.
Liberators versus BC. They do no damage. Oh my god. That's the funniest thing ever. Holy shit. It's like, we don't fucking do anything. That's why Terrans use excess minerals on command centers to have lots of scans. It's so they can mass mules as well. So you can have a crazy amount of economy without actually having to use supply up on more workers. It allows you to mine out the map a lot quicker, and you can even drop your worker count down to like 20 workers in the late game. So you're only using SCVs for gas, and you use just mules for minerals. These gases apparently are broken, and apparently you get 8 gas a trip when you're only meant to get 6. That's what I heard. Apparently Bly has been abusing it and saying it's like super broken. Apparently he goes 2 base muta, but that is his second base. Haha! He even uses an anti-armor missile. Just finish the game, man. I'm having fun with this style, that's why we're going overtime with this coaching. But and these, oh, that was a terrible engage. I didn't unmute, so he didn't hear me telling him to finish the game, guys. I didn't want to tell him specifically because I didn't want him to rush and get all his shit killed like that. He could technically lose this game. Range libs are not good versus Thors, by the way, right? Are they? How many Thor shots does it take to kill a Thor in single fire mode, guys? 3? 3 Thor shots to kill a Liberator? I think if they're sieged and they're not all stacked on top of each other, it's fine. Like the libs, you know, but they definitely can't jump on the Thors.
Our SCVs.
That'd be a big yikes for me.
Yeah,
he's lost quite a few bases and he never got the orbitals up. So he's like actually struggling so hard for economy right now. How many, he's got idle workers, surely.
Base
He's got
is
a few
under
of them.
attack. Your forces are under attack.
I mean, he's got 4 tanks. For some reason, he has 6 tanks up here. He has like 4 tanks here. Like his units are just spread out. And because he doesn't control group anything a lot of the time.
SCV ready.
And like he really just needs to mass siege tanks. Like mass tanks beats mass Thor. You really need to go up to more siege tanks. So adding Thors once you've got 10 siege tanks is fine. But you've got to keep those 10 tanks together and make sure they're supported by the Thors and whatnot. You can hold a choke point or a defensive position super fucking easily with this army. You just need to make sure he doesn't get like mass BC or something out. But I mean, you've got plenty of Thors in your own BCs. So honestly, you're up against what is basically just a mech army. Just having enough tanks to beat his Thors should be absolutely great for you. And, you know, you've been adding range libs in. They're a great addition to the army as well. But don't be afraid to get those tanks up. One of the problems you had was your tanks were spread all over the map with no support. So, and you did take that one big engagement. You tried to siege up on his Thors. You got a little bit impatient, and you went with only part of your army as well. You had like 9 siege tanks spread across the map that weren't there. So you just got to kind of consolidate and be a bit more organized. These BCs did some good damage. You're doing more 1-2 punches. Keep it up, man.
Mineral field depleted.
It's like, this is a great move, right? BC's doing big damage, but he really should be scanning here. That army could have turned around and sieged there and he wouldn't know. That's good. He sieges just here. He says, look, let's just deny the mining, sit there, don't want to go too deep. The BC run-bys are so obnoxious. Really good moves. Oh, he catches 3 Thors. Doesn't want to lose all of his BCs though while he's focusing on that. Ooh, it's going to burn down. That depot's going to burn down. He's not blinking those out of there.
Gaza exhausted.
He just needs to sit there. There's no reason to be focusing on this right now. Like, you can't break this situation. There's no need to move forward here. You keep trying to move forward. Just rebuild more units, keep expanding to bases, and keep multi-pronging. That's what's coming. You've got this position. Neither of you can break each other. You've both got tanks and Thors. You've got no advantage, right? Yeah, you've got 1 range lip. It's not going to beat a bunch of Thors. They'll just kill it. You can just hold that position, build a new army, and you can push that new army into the middle or the south side of the map. And he's the one who's got the pressure on him, right? So the worst thing we could do here is say, hey, we've both got defender's advantage. I'm going to be the one to walk into his defender's advantage. You've got position on 2 of his bases denied right now. You just need to, you know, build other units and shut down the south side of the map, and he's choked out. He's going to have to do something. You don't. He's still spending an inordinate amount of his APM on that north side. He's going to get a CC. His opponent's basically out of resources at this point. The random Widow Mines have got to be such a stress factor with this style. That's what. It's going to be really nice. Nice. That's very obvious. That tank's been in range of that tank for so long, but Aleph just never got vision. That tank's never gone down. GG.
I feel like I was very close to snatching defeat from the jaws of victory in that match.
Indeed.
I was way ahead, and then the game didn't end. Like, I was expecting a GG for a long time, and I was like, oh, he's got like an army of Thors that I have to deal with. And it took me much longer to deal with those than it should have.
Yeah, I mean, I think libs are a nice little addition, but I think tanks are a little bit easier to use.
Tanks
for sure.
are good.
And
I have a really hard time with tanks just because, at least with libs, because they're in the air, they don't get in each other's way. Tanks on the ground are difficult to maneuver, but yeah, they pack better firepower. That is a better.
You've got the
answer
better
for Thors.
multi-prong all game long anyway. You've got the better BC upgrades. You know, your run-bys keep doing the damage. You know, it's not about pushing through the front, right? You made that mistake by trying to siege 10 libs on top of 10 Thors, and we saw what happened. Every single lib died before they could siege.
Yeah, that was not good. That was impatient.
Yeah. It's fine, whichever one works, but you just got to be a little bit more focused there. Yeah, you never got the orbital bank, and that's something you just got to build into your play, especially with this style. You need to build like 5 command centers. Some people with this sort of style actually build orbitals, not planetaries, on a lot of their bases, and they'll only build planetaries on some of the most exposed ones. It's your call. It's your call on what you want to do there in that regard, but I think it's generally just something where you've got the money. There's no reason why you can't drop 4 or 5 command centers. Even just having 2 more orbital commands. The trick is finding a big enough space. So you'll learn like, oh, I've got my 4th base, I've got a ton of space, and you put down 4 command centers all right next to each other in a nice tight grid, you know, something like that. Yeah. And just doing that and turning those into orbitals, it adds so much to your late game because you're just not able to scan. And it's like, I'm looking at your army, and it's like, it's so important that you're able to scan non-stop and see everything that happens, right?
Yeah.
Especially if they go Ravens, because Ravens beat BCs, right?
Yes.
But you can still be a tricky bastard. Just keep running in, Yamatoing stuff. Oh, Ravens are coming, blink away, right? Obviously, you don't want to be on 20 battle cruisers if they've got like 20 Ravens and a good Viking count.
I was Yamato cannoning the Raven. I mean, of course, he only had a handful of them, but I was prioritizing Yamato cannon the Ravens first, And then there was that one engagement where I think he just wasn't looking, and I Yamato cannon all of his Vikings. He was sitting underneath one of my mines, and I was able to see a good amount of his stuff.
Yes, definitely you can try to Yamato the fucking the Ravens technically if they're quick and if they're scanning and they're aware, they can actually interference matrix and it will cuck your Yamato. It will literally not fire and it goes off cooldown, so it gets used up and it doesn't fire. Whereas Neuroparasite doesn't do that.
Is the cooldown for Yamato longer than the interference matrix? I would have thought that the interference matrix would have been longer and it would have been off cooldown by the time you get finished.
Interference matrix only costs 50 energy, but it's the fact that it actually destroys the entire cooldown of the Yamato cannon.
Yeah.
Like it's like a minute. You know, what is it, a minute between Yamato? Something like that? Yeah.
Is it? Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, like it acts as if you've cast the spell. Whereas they can have 4 interference matrices on each Raven.
Yeah.
It's an energy ability. It's not a cooldown ability. So they can spam bam 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 bam. You know, each Raven can shut down 4 battle cruisers if they're at full energy. So anyways, basically just be aware of that. If you start playing a player who's like, you go in for the BC, the like bam Yamatos, and he just like shuts down all your BCs and kills them all with his Vikings and keeps chain locking them down. And you know, you're like, oh shit, you know. So it's a risky maneuver running up to a pack of Ravens and Vikings and Yamatoing them if your opponent's fast enough. Most people aren't fast enough. I taught Nate a good lesson about that when he kept trying to Yamato my Ravens over and over and over again in the game. And he never added Thors or anything on the ground. And I had like 20 Ravens and I just kept locking them down. And I just kept locking them down. And then he'd try to run behind his turrets and I'd just chase him and gun down all of his BCs with my Vikings. So Aleph was asking, how do I deal with that kind of aggression everywhere? It's tough, but yeah, you've got to start punishing those Ravens, the BCs, actually landing the interference matrices. I don't know if you're in chat, Aleph. I hope you are. It's a shame you left the party because I can't actually tell you in chat. But basically, what Mr. or Misspiggy here is saying is doing is coming from all sides. The very first BC got shut down, and he let you escape. He could have. You want to chain those interference matrices if you're playing against BCs. Just before it wears off, throw another interference matrix, and could have easily killed that first battle cruiser. And yeah, generally that's a nice way of doing it. Getting a pack of turrets on the edge of the map to stop, you know, just 1 or 2 BCs can be nice. But you also want to be able to actually push out onto the map. Whereas with this mech style and with this, let's just commit to a ton of Hellions and tanks, it's just a terrible mech build that Aleph happened to have against your build. He by default was building 15, 16, 17, 18 Hellions, turning them to Hellbats, 4 or 5 tanks. Because he's trying to play safe against all the normal styles. And your style happens to be really good versus his style. So he needs to scout better. Or if he just plays against someone like you, write the name in the notebook. When he sees that name on the loading screen, go, okay, let's build one siege tank. And then let's start making Vikings and Ravens or, you know, or Cyclones or whatever we want to deal with it. Even if he was running those 15 Hellions across the map, he might have been able to at least create some chaos for you, probably pick off quite a few SCVs. Yeah, he'd lose a lot of them to Widow Mines, but, you know, he could have done something. Whereas you got, like, the whole 80% of your side of the map to yourself for most of that game with uncontested.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what the mines are for, just to make sure that I'm expanding more than he does. Like, and to be annoying, right? If he goes and tries to build a base on site, it kills a worker.
Exactly.
But just the vision is really the benefit.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, it's just insane damage as well. It adds up and it panics your opponent. It fucks with them. I was talking when I was watching about the psychological effect of these Widow Mines, especially against bio players. Like it's the 2 Widow Mine combo. You're talking about it cleaning up Doom drops, and I'm like, yeah, that's good. But like honestly, a pack of Marines walks into that. Rather than killing a few and leaving 20 in red, it kills all 25 Marines. And you've got 2 Widow Mines shooting right next to each other. Like it's devastating versus bio if they're not watching. So it's one of those frustrating things, you know, for them to deal with. And then you're running BCs in, so it's kind of hard for them to run around clearing up the map with Raven. It's just a very like frustrating addition. It's something people are going to panic against. They don't know what to do against it because they haven't experienced it a lot. So it's a cool, funky style. You need to add the orbital bank. That's the biggest thing for you right now. Much better depot production last game. I was worried you would forget your 3rd command center. You did not. You still got it down at a decent time. It was good. A little adjustment is you could get ahead by skipping the engineering bay and turrets and having that just as a reaction. So you could do something like always send your Reaper, jump into the main base at 3 minutes 30. If you see, it could be, it might be Banshee, I'll build the engineering bay and turrets. That's an advanced thing, it'll take some APM, it'll take some getting used to. Up to you whether or not you work that in. It's definitely something which would give you
proxy Banshee. I get proxy Bansheed so often.
Well, seeing it in the main, that's gonna help you as well, right? You see nothing in the main, you're gonna be like, wait, why is there only one factory and one barracks and
yeah
2 gases mining? So that would actually help you a little bit. Technically, your turrets aren't usually quite fast enough for a proxy Banshee, but they're not too far off if they've gone for an expand build. I'm gonna let you stick with that for now. But yeah, that's like one of those things where if you think about it, like a build like what your opponent's doing there. Engineering bay, 2 turrets, the SCV build time plus the cost of those, that's a command center being down 45 seconds a minute earlier,
Yeah.
It adds up. Is it something which you're going to do? Maybe you're like, nah, man, it's like hard to do that in the midst of my build. I'm Banshee harassing myself and trying to do other things. It's a bit much. I fuck up my macro too much. I don't want to work on it. Maybe you say, you know what? I think it'll be really worth it. I'm going to keep working at this until I get the rhythm down, and I do that in the midst of hitting all my other pieces of my build. But these are like the little things you can choose to invest in, and you can get a good solid little boost to your build order. Part of the reason I would suggest that, and why I really was like, I should definitely write this down, is for me at my MMR, I don't know what it's like for you, Banshee's really rare at the moment. Everyone opens up Raven, so no one's going Banshee. Everyone's like really good defensively. Everyone's got like very nice defensive setups. Just fucking no, I never play against Banshee. I still do it sometimes. I do proxy Banshee off proxy Reaper sometimes, but generally speaking, I'm like, if I was building blind eBay and turrets every game in a meta where I would say like 5% of my games as an enemy Banshee, I would be like, well, statistically, this is a terrible choice in the current meta, right? So that's a choice for you. You might be like, 50% of my games are Banshees. I'm not too sure I'm going to be good with the Reaper Scout. Let's just keep doing it the way you've done it. But there's like, weigh that up off your own feeling of how many times you face Banshee openers.
I also worry about, like, there are a lot of people who go heavy BCs early in the game, kind of like I do. And so the turret isn't a complete defense against the BC. But if he gets his up, like if I have a BC and he has a BC and he's taken some turret damage, then I win that BC fight.
Yeah, it's a good start. If you're playing against a lot of BCs, I mean, maybe that adds to your percentage. Maybe it's 20% of your game's Banshees, 30% BCs. Turret's good in both scenarios. You're like, yeah, I like it. I said, up to you to decide on that percentage-wise. But these are the sort of things where StarCraft's such a hard game, and we can't always just play the most perfect, solid strategy against everything that could possibly come our way. We do want to have a little bit of playing the meta, right? So, you keep your eyes open for this. You're in a meta where everyone's opening 2 factory mech like we just played against. Take this shit out of your build. The fuck are we building turrets for against people who are just building Hellions and tanks, right? We can get our 3rd command center a minute earlier. Our 4th will be earlier. Our 2nd start, but just so much will flow on from that, right? So just keep your eyes open on the meta, as always. Have a bit of a think once in a while about what your opponents are doing, what patterns there are, and that's kind of just part of the overarching kind of thing. You're like, everyone opens up fast roaches in TvZ. 80% of my games. They're always there in time for my Hellbat timing. Well, fuck. I'm either going to stop doing my Hellbats, or I'm going to start hitting a faster Hellbat timing to get in there before the roaches are out, because the roaches are always out just in time for this one. If I hit 40 seconds earlier, I know they have nothing because they're waiting for the roach warren to finish.